Well, hey guys, we are out here at the paddling center at Shingle Creek in Kissimmee, Florida. And let me tell you, it is already hot out here in Florida land. Anyway, hey, I was gonna go down to the cypress forest area to test this thing out, but unfortunately, because of the recent rains, they have shut that thing down because of the current and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be going upstream today and be checking out the lagoon one. I'm really excited about it, so hey, let's get this thing in the water. Well guys, hey, the first thing I noticed right out of the jump is how responsive and quick this thing is to respond to any type of movement. And you'll get a lot of nose yaw when you put a lot of paddle strength into the paddle. Your nose yaw is probably almost 2 feet from one end to the other. Not a complaint. But this thing is super responsive. And now I'm trying to learn how, right now, to control the yaw and tracking on this thing. Man, it's hot out here. Woo. I'm into some shade now. Woohoo, thank you very much. But they are right. This craft is extremely responsive. Now tracking, I'm going to test that out up here when I get into this main open area, but I've noticed that the yaw on this boat is quite extensive, and that's because of the short back end. So when you paddle left and right, and you can see in this video how much that thing is moving. And I'll set up my other camera here once I get up top and show you this yaw. It's not a complaint, but it is something that you need to know going in. Now, if you're going out to just do like a leisure paddle like I'm doing right now, just leisure, actually, this thing handles pretty good. The tracking's not bad. But again, this is 2 feet shorter than the Sport. I was talking to the proprietor, Stephanie, before we got out on the water here, and she cautioned me about going down to Cypress Forest, and they've got a close off. She said I could go. But she said that the current with this short little boat would be a real challenge. So I decided to go upstream. We've had some extremely heavy rain that lasted almost 10 days, where it rained every day. Not long, but it did rain hard. And in our area, this is where that excess water would go. And man, you can sure tell. I haven't seen the water up this high on Shingle Creek since the hurricanes last year. I was kind of thinking it would be down, but I forgot about all that rain we had. But it's all good. I'm gonna get into some shade over here and then set up the other camera, and we'll continue this on. I set the other camera up here so you could see the amount of nose yaw you get when you paddle this. Now, is it horrible? No, it's not horrible, but it's quite a lot. So, as you're paddling, and I want you to see this, I'm putting some pretty good pulls on my paddle, you can see how much the nose yaws, but it does stay within a manageable area, so it's not really a real problem. One of the great things is, and I'm going to show you this right now, is how easy this thing turns. So all I'm going to do is just do a standard, and that was real time, guys. I turned this thing 180 degrees in a matter of a half a second. And you can see I'm using one paddle where I normally have to adjust with the other end of the paddle. I didn't here. I mean, just one pull and it spun me 180 degrees, and then I put it in again and it took me back 180 degrees. So I did a 360 degree turn. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do up here. I want you guys to see that. And then the amount of effort or non-effort it takes to do this. So you could really maneuver this thing in some real tight conditions. Excellent. So let's do a 360 degree turn. 180. Real time 360 right there. That was pretty. I'm pretty amazed on how nimble this craft is. Now, I understand because it's so short, it's going to be a lot more nimble. I can't wait for the paddle downstream once I get up at the other end here. So, hey, we're going to get out of here for a while and continue our paddle. And I'm going to be testing out all the attributes of this neat little kayak. So, hey, we'll be back in a bit. Well, hey guys, we've been paddling upstream on the at the paddling center in Kissimmee, and like she said, the current is tough, but I've learned a lot about this Lagoon one. One of the things is how responsive it is. So when you have a standard sized kayak, and I don't mean that in a derogatory sense, when you drop your paddle to do a turn, with this craft, you just barely put it in because this thing turns on a dime. So it's really kind of cool how it works. I'm getting more used to it now, and I've cut the yaw in the nose way down because I was paddling it like I do my 13-footer. And you're going to not change your paddling techniques, but you're going to learn how to paddle this particular Lagoon 1. And then once you've got that, and I've got this down pretty much. Now, this ain't no race boat, but that's not what it's designed for. This is really great if you're going out on some very calm flat water. However, I have found out that it does really well in this fast current that I'm in right now. I mean, it's really moving. You see how easy this thing turns. I mean, there is no effort to turn this thing at all. Actually pretty cool. It's a nice little boat. Hey, we're gonna head back downstream now, and hey, we'll be back in a bit. Well, hey guys, we are heading downstream, and this is a whole lot better than what it was coming up. This current is strong. But anyway, hey, we're having a good time out here and got to know the Lagoon 1 a lot. And actually, it turned out to be a pretty fun little boat. I wouldn't recommend this for long paddles. I mean, like 10, 12, 15 mile paddles. But if you're going out to have a just a good time paddling around some flat water area, or maybe a quiet river or something like that, hey, this boat really works well. And I'm actually pretty impressed. Now I'm going downstream right now, and the only thing I have to do is do paddle correction for direction. And that's about it. And the one thing I learned about this boat, you don't need a lot. For your heavier boats and stuff like that, you need to really drop that oar or paddle into the water to get it to turn. This one here, you just barely drop it in there, and this thing turns, as you can see I'm doing right now. It's pretty awesome. And I'm just going downstream, and this current's pretty fast. So we're just going to enjoy the paddle. We're coming up to my favorite spot. And I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see it. This thing is really awesome. It's an old bridge. And we're coming into it right now. And it's an old bridge, and it is really cool. So anyway, hey guys, we're going to continue our paddle back to the launch site here, and it's been a blast. I've had a good time out to this boat. It's been fun. So hey, we'll be back in a little while. Hey guys, welcome back. We're back from our on-water field test, and we had a great time out there. Now today, we are finally finishing up the review on the Advanced Elements AE 1031-0 Lagoon 1. I'll tell you what, this is a really cool boat. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, this is not made for long distances and stuff like that, but if you're looking for a lake paddle or a leisurely, lazy river, this thing is the bomb. So what I'd like to do now, guys, is kind of give you my pros and cons on this. Now, first off, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I was a little nervous about this boat because it did not have an inflatable floor, but it does have an inflatable seat. Now, once I got into this boat, that fear went away. Now, I live in Florida waters, and it's got some pretty nasty varmints in it, so I had a fear of that. But with the PVC tarpaulin bottom and all that kind of stuff, I'm not worried about that getting in there, but it's just the idea of not having that inflatable floor. And this foam floor with the inflatable seat really surprised me. I was totally blown away. It actually worked out good. One of the things you're going to have to do with this particular boat, guys, is learn how to modify your paddle stroke. Now, one of the first things you're going to have to do, guys, and again, this is totally suggestions. It's my findings of what I found out there. But if you take this boat out, and like I did, and I got into it and I started paddling it like I was in my 13-foot expedition. That was a big mistake, because this is 8 foot 6 inches long, has a stubby rear end, and this thing responds like nuts. It is awesome. When you reach in and you're using your standard 13-foot kayak stroke and reaching way out here like this and pulling it, that nose is going to yaw a lot. So what you have to do to get that under control is to reduce your paddle stroke. Now, I learned that yesterday because at first I was just yawing like a crazy man. I was going like this, but I was paddling it, again, like I was in my 13-foot expedition. And that is not what you do with this particular craft. This is set up for a recreational, fun day. And let me tell you, once I modified my paddle stroke, there were no more problems at all. One of the things that amazed me most about this boat is how fast it will do a 180-degree turn or even a 360-degree turn. By putting the paddle in once and pulling, I was able to do a complete 180-degree turn. This thing turns on a dime. It handles actually really, really well. So I was really surprised with that, and pleasantly surprised, and it was kind of fun. I had a great time out there. Now, I went up against some pretty nasty current and went upstream for about 3 miles altogether. And I was warned by the proprietor there that it would be a real challenge because of the length of the boat. Well, at some points where I got some into the swirls and some of the narrows of the creek, the current there was just flying. But I went through that with no problems at all. And it was a lot of fun. The most fun that I had was when I was coming back down, and when you want to turn or make a course correction on this particular boat, don't put it in like you normally do by raising the blade all the way down and because you got to turn a bigger boat. You do that, it's going to spin you in a circle. What you do is you just barely put the paddle edge into where you want to make your course correction, and it just comes around so sweet, so smooth. I was really impressed with it. I can see why people like this boat. It is definitely a fun recreational kayak, and I recommend that if you want to do just recreational kayak, no long distance stuff, because there is no storage on this boat to speak of. You saw in the setup video where I put the Advanced Elements deck bag on the front, because I put 3 cameras in there plus a coffee cup when I went out yesterday, because there is no storage on this boat at all. So that really helps you out. I would recommend, if you're going to get the Lagoon one, make sure you get the Advanced Elements deck bag with it, because you can put your stuff in it and just have a great time. So hey, we're going to wrap this up. We hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you on the next one.